Hello, my friends. Jerry Rosa here in the Rosa String Works Man Cave. I've got Leon's guitar here. I thought we'd just look at it a little closer today to see how it's doing after it's been strung up and put together again. And of course, I've got the light strings on it, but it's been together now for about 10 days or so, and really it's just been sitting in the case. I haven't touched it other than just a few minutes ago. So I thought first, though, I would just prove to you that, and I know you're not going to believe this, but I'm going to prove to you that I'm even worse guitar player than I am a mandolin player. I'm going to try a little old Hazel Dickens tune that I don't do very often, but I think it's just a really pretty tune. I hope you enjoy it. Just a few old memories slipped in through my door, though I thought I had closed it so tightly before, and I can't understand it, why it should bother my mind, for it all belonged to another place and time. Just a few old keepsakes way back on the shelf. No, it don't mean nothing. I'm surprised they're still left. Just a few old love letters with their edges all brown, and an old faded picture I keep turned upside down. Just a few old memories going way back in time. I can hardly remember. I don't know why I'm crying, and I can't understand it, why I'm surprised at myself. First thing tomorrow morning, I'll clean off that shelf. Just a few old keepsakes way back on the shelf. No, it don't mean nothing. I'm surprised they're still left. Just a few old love letters with their edges all brown, and an old faded picture keep turned upside down. That's all I got. Hazel Dickens, she didn't write any bad songs, that's for darn sure. She was a good songwriter. What I thought I would do here is to, and I haven't peeked, I haven't cheated, I haven't looked at it. I thought we'd just check the action and see where it's at, because I don't know. Is it still, it was about 100 and roughly 80. So 100 on the bass and 80 on the treble is what I remember it being at when I got finished with it. So let's look at it. Here's the 12th fret. Be nice if I had, well, here I've got my close-up glasses. I can see this without them, but it's just more accurate with them. So let's see here. It was 100 and I'd say it's real close to that still. Real close to 100 right now. I'd say it might be a hair over 100, but if it is, it's barely. Let's see on the 80. I'd say it's still real close to 80. So it doesn't appear to have moved much, if any. So it seems like it's working out pretty good. I don't know what it sounds like, but that's what light strings sound like on a Martin. To me, they sound just fine. So there you go. That's my 2 cents worth. It's a nice guitar. It's a shame it just don't want to stay a guitar. Moving things out of my way here where I can get comfortable. Let's see. I got just a couple of more things to talk about and one thing to show you, and then we'll get into the comments here. I started teaching my daughter Rochelle how to use a laser cutter today. She's going to take the Gloofy laser cutter home with her. And it's working really well. I do like the laser cutter. I did have trouble with it. There's no doubt about that. But on the other hand, some of it could have been pilot error. I'll be honest. I don't think much of it was. I think a lot of it was just this one dumb connector that they've got over in the corner. And that connector seems to come loose fairly easy. So if it weren't for that, I don't think I would have really had much trouble with it. But anyway, it's a nice laser cutter, and hopefully I'll get that video out very soon. But she's going to take that one home with her, and she's learning how to use Lightburn and the different programs that go with it. It's pretty cool technology. Make a lot of stuff with a laser cutter if you just take time to do it. That's my problem, is taking time to do it. Let's see. Moving on, I told you I was trying to come up with a little bit of storage solution for a lot of these heavy metal artifacts that I have. Well, here's how that turned out. We're up here at the old farmhouse, and I've made some storage inside the basement area here. It's a nice clean basement. It's dark in here though. There's not much light. I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not, but I got the horseshoes up there, the plowshares there, a bunch more plowing pieces there that are, at least they're for breaking the ground. I don't know what they are. There's a sickle, well, a scythe, or we always called them a sickle. But anyway, I don't know what that tool is there, but I know it went to some old farm machinery, a bunch of files. There's the wedges, the splitting wedges and things. There's the giant star drill and the axe that I restored. There's a bunch of axe heads. There's an old pick that I found. Just a bunch of more metal. I think this was the pivot on a wagon front end is what I think it was, where the axle pivoted. Then you can see there's the feet for the stove. This is off of a single tree or something like that, single tree, double tree, something like that for pulling with a horse. But anyway, at least that gives me some place out of the way to store this stuff, and I don't have to have it underfoot. That helped. Just need more room. We got lots of room here, but it's just not used very well is the problem. So little things like that, little improvements like that help a lot. Let's see. I guess we're ready to go into the comments. So let's just get busy and get in there. Rod Wentler was first in today, it looks like. Paul Akers is there. Dottie's there. Dottie, I hope you're doing well. I've been praying for you. She said she sent me a PayPal. Well, thank you, Dottie. You don't have to do that. You probably didn't even watch the lesson. Oh, you said you did enjoy the lesson this morning. Well, good. The lesson last night was on minor, having minor chords in a song. We did one song that was actually in a minor. I think that was Seminole Wind, was in D minor. The other songs were not written in minors, but they have a minor in them. So that's quite a different thing, in case you're not familiar with that. And so we kind of demonstrated both of those. There's Mark Nadzum. Hope you're doing good, Mark. And Dottie's still praying for us, and we're praying for you, Dottie. Hope everything's going well for you. Bill Rhodes. Google, I'm glad you found a brown problem with your more. Okay, moving on. I don't follow that one. It's probably the way I read it. Kim Williford, good afternoon, Jerry. Great lesson last night. Thanks so much for them. You're welcome, Kim. I'm glad you liked it. I try. It's really awkward. It seriously is awkward. I've given lots and lots and lots and lots of face face-to-face lessons. Giving them over this screen where you don't get any feedback or you don't get any reaction, you don't get nothing, you don't really know how it's going, Yeah, you don't know if you're just going over everybody's head or if everybody's getting it or if I'm too elementary. You just don't know. So it's really hard. There's Kim saying, she's saying, everyone, where is David Tharp today? He finally got 8 hours of sleep. It took him 3 nights to do it. Yeah, that's really kind of my theme right there. It takes me several nights to get 8 hours most of the time. Sometimes I sleep pretty good, but it's usually after I haven't slept for 4 or 5 nights in a row. Well, then I'll get one really good night's sleep. Let's see, moving on down, looking for more question marks. David Tharp says, you know how they throw the ball into the crowd after they win the game? That's not allowed in bowling. I know that now. Kenneth Ennis. Hi, Jerry and everyone. I like the vlogs at this time slot. Easier for me to catch them. Thanks. Well, good, Kenneth. I'm glad that's good. Wavy Gravy. My 6th grade teacher once made me tell the class something I was not good at that started with the letter A. She was thinking arithmetic. I thought for a minute and said spelling. Kim Williford. David, yay, the bowling ball is too heavy to throw. Yeah. David Tharp. A cop told me he was looking for a man with one eye. I told him to use both eyes since it would make it easier to spot him. David, you're messed up, man. You're messed up. Walt Willard. Good afternoon, everyone. Great job on the song, Jerry. Well, thank you. Yeah, I don't know how great it was, but yeah, I got through it anyway. I'm surprised I remembered the words. That's the hard part for me is, when you don't do them all the time, is trying to remember all the words. Wavy Gravy. Last week, my next-door neighbor finally broke into the music business. Too bad for him. This store had a silent burglar alarm and 2 security cameras. Bill Mumbo. Played along on my mandolin and put a couple of 7ths in there. Yeah, there you go. Those 7ths are transition chords, man. They pretty it up, That's what 7ths do. And I think our next lesson is going to be primarily dealing with 7ths. I use them way too much probably, but I guess I like them. Gary Hayden. Jerry, concerning the metal piece you found, are some of the holes threaded? No, I don't think so. I think they're all smooth holes. I'm beginning to think it might have been steering end of some sort of maybe an old car. Yeah, it's possible, I guess. I won't say it's not, but I don't think it's a car-related thing. I'm almost positive I can see this in my brain. It might even be on an old harrow. Those with the teeth, the metal teeth that go in, that drag on the ground. And what you do is you pull this long handle back, and those holes are the angle of the teeth. So, like, in other words, you can drag the teeth like this, where they're dragging backwards, or you can set them up pretty straight, and they're dragging really hard. That's what I'm thinking it is. It's got 4 holes there for adjusting either the angle on something or possibly like on a manure spreader where you're adjusting how much manure is coming out the back end. It's for some type of an adjustment like that. I'm positive of that. I just don't know what it was off of, but I'm 99.9% sure it was old farm machinery. Just because I've had so much experience with that old farm machinery, growing up that way, and living on well, we didn't exactly live on a farm, but it was a farm youth grow up, if you will. We were around lots of farms and horses and all that stuff and pulling equipment and all that thing. And my grandparents, we visit them all the time, and they were big time into the farms and stuff, Let's see. Bill Mumble says he's hoping Dottie's feeling better. I am too. Brown Bomag 803 says, I enjoy the guitar build and repairs. Well, I used to also. I tell you what, if you could just, well, I'm sure I'm not as bad as a lot of people. I mean, I'm not crying like poor me. That's not what I mean. But if you could just feel how stiff my hands are these days, you would, another reason why you would know I'm not doing this anymore. They're stiff, man. Like playing music now, it's a struggle. It really is. Let's see. Bill Rhodes, Jerry, I'm really not trying to help. It's bouncing on me here. Where did it go? It bounced. I don't know where that went. Here it is. Bill Rhodes, Jerry, I'm really not trying to help you with your reading. Trust me, I don't think there's any help for my reading. It would have helped a long, long time ago. Bill Webb, good afternoon, Jerry, Rosa, and friends. There you go. Now you're talking. Good afternoon, everyone, and Jerry. Let's see. Ben Boyd, in an older video, you fixed your tennis shoe with caulk. Did it last? Gosh, that was a long time ago. I think it did. I think it worked. I don't remember, to be truthful. I don't remember. I just recently fixed another shoe. I've been talking about these Hokas. Well, the one pair I wear every day out there in the shop and around here doing farm chores and, on this gravel all day and on the concrete all day. And so the soles were starting. Now, keep in mind, they're well over a year old. God, it might be 2 years old. Well, a piece of the sole was coming loose on that. Well, I have some new rubber glue that's made for, I think it's like made for like almost like vulcanizing rubber back together. And I use some of that. It's like for fixing tires and I mean the actual tire, not the inner tube, but it's made for like patching tires and things. So I used some of that on that shoe and that seemed to work really good. By the way, I still love my Hokas. I really do. Yeah, I probably won't be buying any other kind of shoes from now on. Those are on my website too if you're interested, on my products I use page. They're expensive, more than I've ever paid for, a tennis shoe type shoe, but they're worth it, I think. So anyway, Bill Rhodes, it's just my phone. Okay, let's see. I get it whenever I see these half-baked lines. I do the same thing. I'll send a text to somebody and it's like it sent it before I was ready, or it was the words read correctly and then they changed just as I sent it. Like the phone will change words like that sometimes. It's goofy how it does that. So I get it. I understand. Bill Webb, I watched most of the lesson last night. I'm trying to get those chords down. All I need is practice. Yeah, it just takes practice, that's for sure. Dottie says, nice chirping. Well, thank you. Did you mean choking? David Tharp, what about the diminished and demolished chords? David, you're so far above the rest of us, it's not even funny. Or let me rephrase that. You're so far above me, it's not even funny. I don't know about the rest of us, but for sure on me. I don't know nothing about any of that stuff. You've pretty much seen everything I know. I I've already laid it out on the table. I don't really know anything else. If you're asking anything beyond what you've seen, I don't know it. That's pretty much the truth. Sad but true. Michael 2X says, you should go fishing with the boys. Yep. And video that. Yep. We're going to have a fishing tournament tomorrow, I think. My daughter Lisa's coming in. She wants to be a part of it, I think. And of course, Trinian, he's the fisherman. He just can't. Yeah, he just eats it up. And so we're going to have a fishing tournament tomorrow. Maybe I'll get some of that on video. Gary Hayes. Jerry, I think Hazel was from West Virginia also. I am not the Gary Hayes you played music with, but it would be proud to say if I was so. Yeah, it was Hayes. I'm not sure the first name was Gary. It seemed like it was something like that, though. Gary something Hayes, but it was years ago. Gosh, and you know me and names. Theron Corbett, my grade school music teacher asked me if I wanted to play a solo. Solo, we can't hear you. Yeah, that's what my mom would say. She'd say stuff like that to me all the time about either solo or she'd say, do you know that, or can you play that tune Down Under the Bridge? And I said, I don't know that tune. She says, no, I mean, like, can you take your fiddle and go down under the bridge and play that tune? And, okay. Eddie D. Hi, Jerry and friends. The cedar boards make real nice shelves, Jerry. Glad you finally fixed the writing more. Couldn't be any more simple to do that fix, yeah. But finding it is another story. Yeah, and I should have found it a lot sooner. I just took for granted that clamp was holding. You know, it seemed like it was. And it was probably holding fine around the hose itself, but it didn't have enough force to clamp the hose shut around the nipple that it was on. And it was the problem. David Thorpe. Sarcasm won't get you anywhere. Oh, okay. Him says sarcasm won't get you anywhere. Me, it got me into sarcasm championship in Peru back in '98. Him, really? Me, no. Okay, let's see here. Let's see. Walt Willard. Jerry, I really appreciate the time you put into helping us with the lessons. I think trigger finger and arthritis are finally giving into persistence. Yeah, I'm fortunate I don't have the trigger finger thing, but the arthritis thing I sure do have. I do, I think Don, the bass player, has the trigger finger thing, and I think Leon occasionally has it, I think. Kim Williford, Bill said that he's glad you found the problem on your mower and fixed it. Great song on the guitar and fixed it. Yeah, well, thank you. Ben Bull, let's see, nope, there's no question mark. Scott Roberts, Jerry, I also use seventh chords a lot. It tells the other players who may not be familiar with that the change is coming. Yep, that's what I always say. When you see me move that finger, get ready because we're getting ready to go to the next chord, Wavy Gravy, my neighbor says that you can't relax nowadays. He was sitting in a beanbag chair eating a bag of Doritos watching a big TV screen. Next thing you know, Walmart calls the cops on him. Kim Williford, I want to see the competition. Please show the biggest in the trophies. I want to see who wins. Well, I don't know if there's going to be any trophies. It's just mostly bragging rights, but we might figure out something. Ben Boyd, do you think you'll ever do a How I Play Lead Mandolin course? I think your method might simplify it for me. Well, Ben, if enough people want to see it after we're more or less done with this, and we're getting close to this basic lesson thing. We can just continue on, and I'll try to show you what I do. But I have more trouble being specific with that. It's I don't know. That's what stumped me. Is like I know what I'm doing. I just don't know if I can articulate it, if you will, explain it. I mean, I can basically, the simple thing is I'm playing right out of the chord. I mean, literally, I switch, just like if you were switching the chord as you're strumming, I switch the chord and I'm playing notes. That's exactly how I'm doing it. Let's see. Scott Roberts, sarcasm. I've never faked a sarcasm in my life. Let's see. Bill Webb, my Paw Bradford used to tell me I should be on the radio. That way he could turn me off. Yeah. My mom, I wish I could. I should just try to write down all the things she used to say. She had so many sayings and so many things like that. It is unbelievable how many she had. Just, like when we were being rowdy, you guys better cut that out or I'm going to stomp a mud hole in you and kick it dry. That kind of thing. She just, those kinds of things all day long, every day. She had hundreds of them. Just stuff like that. The spoken song. When I first started playing guitar, my dad used to ask, "Can you play Over by the Window and I'll help you out?" Yeah, there's a lot of those, I don't know, insulting on a curve type insults. I think that's it, guys. I think I'm going to get off here. I appreciate y'all being with me, and hope those of you that watched the lesson last night enjoyed it. I think lesson next week is going to be kind of more of the same, kind of reviewing all the different things we've talked about in the last several lessons especially, and with an emphasis on the sevenths, and listening for those and putting those in there. Ben Boyd, actually, I just hearing you say that you play out of the chord position helps me a lot. Thanks. Quite a few comedians here. Hit the thumbs up. Yeah, that's the way. Well, see, my uncle back when I very first started playing, I've told this story 1,000 times already, but not everybody's heard it. I was in a jam at a bluegrass festival. It was an indoor festival. It was during the winter, and I didn't know my uncle was standing behind me, and he kind of walked. He was one of the stage performers, and he walked up behind me. I'm in this jam in the hallway, and I'd only been playing about a month at that time, and I'm really just trying to hang in there. I wasn't doing anything, spectacular or anything. And when the song was over, he pecks me on the shoulder and says, "Son, how long you been playing that mandolin? I didn't know you played mandolin." I said, "Well, about a month, And he goes, "Oh, boy, I tell you what, for a month, you're doing really good." He says, "You're doing about as good as anybody I've ever heard, really, at just a month." He says, "But I can't hear you. You sound wimpy, and you need to learn how to play double notes." And he turned around and he walks off. I went, "You can't hear me. I sound wimpy. You need to learn how to play double notes." Well, the wimpy part was probably my Kmart mandolin. and you can't hear me was probably part of the Kmart mandolin. But the double notes thing, that one really floored me. I'm going, double notes? Single notes is hard enough. How the heck do you play double notes? He didn't explain what he meant, and I'm brand new at it, so I don't know nothing, So I went home, and for a solid year, and I'm not making this up, I mean, like for a solid year, I hardly played at any jams or anything. I mean, I did a little bit, but hardly any. I think they had a monthly bluegrass meeting, and I went to those, and and jammed at those, but hardly anything else. And so for a whole year, I've trying to figure out how to play double notes. Well, it finally dawned on me that when you're making your chord, you've got all these double notes already. And so I started using those and monkeying with that, and sure enough, that's how it worked. And I developed my own style playing out of the chords with double notes. And most of the leads that I play are 2 notes. Not all of them and not all the time, but most of them and most of the time. You know what I'm saying? And anyway, that's why it sounds different than every other mandolin player, and it is different. And some people just jump on me and say, well, that's very limiting. You can't play, fine, it's limiting, but that's how I play, and that's just the way it is. And like I said, it was good enough that Sam Bush literally got up out of his chair, walks up to the stage, or not really a stage, but in front of the class, and he walks up right up to me, and he's got his head right under my mandolin. I mean, he's watching me. He's this close. He's this close to my mandolin. He's looking at it like this. He goes, I ain't never seen nobody do it like that before. I thought, well, heck, it was worth that anyway, So that's how I do it. I play out of chord positions. I do not know. Yeah, in fact, in that class, this was back in the mid-'90s. And in that class, the first thing they said was, you don't use your little finger to play lead. That's, we use these first 3 fingers, and that's your main lead notes, I guess they didn't mean that you never use your little finger, but you must use it very, very sparingly. You use these 3 fingers here as your main lead notes, and all the mandolin pickers that are there in the group, they're all shaking their head. Yeah, that's right. And I'm thinking, I'm sliding under the table, because I'm using all 4 fingers to get those double notes, And anyway, on the last day of the class, after I showed everybody how I play and everything, he was given the closing remarks, and it was just classic, man. He says, now you remember what we told you on the first day. You use these 3 fingers. You don't use your little finger. You can't make the notes with that little finger, except Rosa. Rosa can do it. The rest of you use these 3 fingers. I thought that was pretty good. So anyway, that's how I do it. And not very many people do it that way. And I'm not necessarily saying you should. It's just how I do it. And it does allow you, though, once you learn, it's kind of like the pattern thing with the chord pattern, as I've showed you how it's kind of the same on every song. The pattern's kind of the same, Well, it's the same way with the way I play lead. If I know the chords to the song, if I know when the chords are changing on the song, I can play the song. It doesn't matter what song it is. If I know when the chords are changing, I can play it because I play notes out of that chord. And all I do is change my chord and play the notes. That's all I do. Nothing fancy, nothing complicated. Like I said, if it was complicated, you wouldn't see me doing it because I do everything really the simple way. That's it, guys. Thanks a lot for being here. We will see you probably Monday with something else.